This is John with Good Burger Reviews, and I'm here to do a brand new 2025 movie review, and the movie's called Locked.
Hello, Eddie. You're in my car.
This movie was produced by Sam Raimi, directed by David Yarovesky, starring Anthony Hopkins and Bill Skarsgård. When Eddie breaks into a luxury SUV, he steps into a deadly trap set by the self-proclaimed vigilante who delivers his own brand of twisted justice. Trapped inside the car, Eddie soon discovers the escape is an illusion and survival is a nightmare. It was released in March of 2025 into theaters, and I'm a little late on the review. It's now currently on VOD streaming. Okay, so this movie is a movie blend. Again, it's a blend of two movies, and the movies I'm going to say that it blends with, it's stronger on the one side of the blend, but it's definitely a blend of both of these movies, and that is Unhinged meets Seven. It very much like the bare bones of the movie is like the movie Unhinged, and I'm gonna have to say that Unhinged overall was done better. Unhinged is probably one of my most favorite movies from 2020. But the idea of the two main characters basically battling, in Unhinged it's only a day, and this one I feel like it's a couple days, less than a week, centered around cars. So that's why I see it's the same premise there. And the reason why I say that it's meets Seven is because Anthony Hopkins' character is definitely, William, he's definitely trying to be like a Seven, maybe channeling his Silence of the Lambs role, just trying to be that smart serial killer. But unfortunately, this character doesn't pull it off to the level of those characters. Also, I also felt like he was trying to be like maybe Jigsaw in a way as well, like just blend of all that. If you think about this character William in this movie, and he's the antagonist. I mean, it seemed like there was two antagonists, but I guess Skarsgård's character is definitely the protagonist. I feel like he's a weak protagonist because there wasn't much likable about him. But with Anthony Hopkins, it just was that he's trying to be this smart, manipulating the system, has everything planned. And in some aspects, it's done well. And in other aspects, it comes off corny. And I think part of the reason why, for me, this movie it's like a tone shift throughout it. It's tonally shifting, and it's not like smooth shifts like I've seen in other movies recently. And the reason I say that is 1 minute I'm kind of laughing because it's comical, and in another minute it's extremely serious and extremely tensions driven up high. And then in other moments, there's this blend of like, I didn't know that this was going to have a lot of like political little commentary in it. I wouldn't say it's threaded mainly throughout the entire movie, but underneath the backbone of this whole movie, weeded in is these little commentaries. And I wouldn't say it's on one side or the other side as far as which side this movie's leaning towards, left or right. There's little jabs in there, it seems, from like both sides, because Skarsgård's character definitely would be, the lefty, and then William's character would definitely be the righty, and then some of their commentary just was political, and very things that you hear nowadays, whether you hear it on social media or the news or whatever, just little things that were slid in there. I guess the only thing I can say why it was there was like to kind of give each character some character. So I guess they were like character points for each one. The basic plot line is Eddie is like this common criminal, low-end type of struggling poverty guy. He's definitely a deadbeat dad, and that plays a role in this. And he's basically trying to get his car fixed so he can make money, and he doesn't have enough money, and he's like, if I don't have enough money to get my car fixed, and I can't, get this on credit, how the heck am I going to get my car out and make money to pay the mechanic? And it's, it's this whole kind of gangsta mentality at this mechanic shop. I mean, it was like Center City, I'll break your leg if you don't pay back type of feeling when you're in this place. So that's what kind of pushes this character to want to steal a car. So he tries buying lottery tickets, and he tries, all these things. He's ignoring his daughter. He's trying to ignore his wife, but he gets on the, I guess maybe ex-wife, baby mama, ignoring his baby mama, and he's, he's got that weighing on his back, and he's walking down the street trying to figure out what he's gonna do, and he sees this car. Well, he tries another car, but then he sees this car, and he doesn't even really need to break in. Gets in the car with the intention to steal it, and then when he gets in, it's this like high-end SUV, and it's decked out like a Hummer. I mean, I don't. It was called Dolus or Dolores, something like that. It had a name that sounded very car sounding, but totally decked out. And once he gets in, he's trying to figure out how to get moving, and he can't. So he's like, I'll get out, right? He gives up quickly when I thought, oh, he's not going to steal it. Well, I already knew the title, Locked. He's locked in. He's locked into the vehicle, can't get out. And all of a sudden, through the car phone comes a phone call from, all it says on the caller ID is answer me. And I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. That's going to be the other character. So he doesn't answer at first. He basically really resists and trying to bully his way out of the car, like brute his way out of the car, kicking, stomping, even shooting a gun. Can't get out. Nothing is damaging this car. This is a tank of a car. So he finally succumbs and answers the phone, and that is where William, Anthony Hopkins' character, enters in. And basically what happens is William basically tries to torment Eddie in this car for at least almost a week, multiple days, a couple days for sure. The way it came off though, like this guy, William, can I just say, Anthony Hopkins' character, William, he is passive aggressive behavior. I mean, he's like tormenting him in a passive aggressive way because he's off and about somewhere. He's, he's safe wherever he's at. And he's just totally going after this guy in the mind and physically, and it's all taking place in this car. And I thought, how is this movie really gonna last for like 90 minutes plus with the main character just being stuck in the car the whole time? And the first half of the movie, the first quarter of the movie for sure, the car doesn't even move. And I thought, oh my gosh, are we going to sit through this entire movie in a parking lot? Definitely gets into torturing him in various ways, and some of it I just thought was goofy or just disgusting. I don't know for what reason, but like he turns the air conditioner on, freezes him, then he turns the heat on and overheats him, and then like he's not feeding him real well. Like in this whole few day period, he gets like a bottle of water and a cookie. And I thought, how is this guy doing anything after this point? Because he's got to be exhausted. Now he gets to sleep. He sleeps at least twice that I see. So that's what led me to believe it was a couple days, sun's up, sun's down. But also, I'm going to mention this. I mean, he drinks his own piss because he literally was so thirsty. And I thought, oh my gosh, do we really need to watch this? I mean, I guess it's the whole torment, the whole going through, let's get this guy in the whole worst scenario, get him down to desperation that he's actually willing to do that. But I don't know. That part to me seemed a little extra. And then that's where some of the comedy comes in. This one girl comes over to the car and he's like banging, carrying on, like, help me. And she's in the mirror. It's tinted windows with like that reverse mirror crap. So like she can't see in. He can see out, but she can't see in. So all she sees is her reflection. She's in the window doing her lips, and she gives a kiss as she walks away. That part was comical. I was laughing, but that That was probably the funniest part. So I felt like this guy's talking through the radio and he's basically trying to be Jigsaw meets Hannibal Lecter meets whoever I forget who the main killer was in Seven, but all that kind of blended into it, and it comes off a little hokey because Anthony Hopkins is up there in age. Okay, I just mentioned this, in my most influential thing because if they ever try to make a sequel of Silence of the Lambs again and keeping him in it, there's just not much time left for that. And you could even before you even see Anthony Hopkins, and it's a while before we even see him. And at one point I thought we're never going to see him. But even through this radio, his voice sounds so old that I'm like, oh my gosh. But it didn't matter because he's locked in and Anthony Hopkins is somewhere safe. But it just kind of was like this old man just with this wobbly voice. But he's smart, very smart, and he's rich. Obviously, he's decked out his car. He has all this way, does all this stuff to manipulate the whole system. Very manipulative character. So, I mean, the pacing with this, sometimes it gets a little slow because, like, it is an hour and a half in this car for the movie. It's like he's literally in one car. Like, at least in Unhinged, Russell Crowe was, like, loose. The girl is running from him, and it's just this whole car-on-car, basically, person-on-person battle, and mostly interperson. No, on the phone as well, too. But this one, he's just in the car, and the other guy is always on the phone. However, there was this one scene, which I thought was done well with a little bit of tension. It reminded me of The Strangers, not Strangers Chapter 1, but the original Strangers. There's at night, he's on the phone with him, but in the background, you just see this like kind of blurry version of a face, and it's just perfectly the head. And I'm like, you're looking at it, it's like, is that a person? Is that a head? Not sure. And then a couple minutes go by, and it's like, yeah, that is a person. It is a person. But then with the camera work, it kind of, he's not in the picture. And then every time when the camera shows that this head that was in the background wasn't in the picture, I'm like, that's when the tension ratchets up stuff for me. I love that type of stuff. So this is where the movie shined with this little gimmick. And then it flips back in, the head's still there, and I thought, oh, the head's gonna be gone, or maybe it'll be somewhere else, it'll have moved. Like I could never confirm immediately at that scene that was it even a person back there. That goes on for like 5 minutes, and then it doesn't pay off right away. So then, after that, finally he torments this guy, he gets his name, he gets his social security number, he starts doing all this investigative work on him, so now he has access to his life. So you can kind of know where this is going. This movie definitely has some predictability with the characters and with what they're going to do, for the most part. And finally, the car starts moving. So this guy has a remote control over this Hummer SUV that he's stuck in. And he's driving him around, and now it starts to become, now I'm thinking, what, is this ever going to become a horror? Because I thought it's marked as a horror thriller, and I feel it's totally leans into the thriller, but they kind of tag on this horror because of basically this one part, and it's really only in one part. And I thought maybe it was going to get more of this, and then we never do. But basically when he first starts moving the car around, he starts playing vigilante, and Skarsgård's in the car, and he's just stuck there helpless, having to witness everything this guy's doing in the car. Well, basically he finds some gangsters doing some terrible stuff and takes the car and kills them with it, right? And it's long, slow, and drawn out, but it's like, this guy's got to watch the whole thing. And I thought, okay, here we go. He's going to start going around and start killing people, but that was it. He kills 2 gangsters, and then we're on to, he starts targeting Eddie's daughter. But, he targets the daughter, and in the car, it's like, they're driving at her, they're near her. It's just very scary. And trust me, if I was in that situation with my kid, that part was very tense and frightening as well. So another part where the movie shined was in that little scene with the daughter on the street on a scooter and this guy in the car. And he almost hits her a couple times. Here's, I guess, the turning point in the whole thing is Bill Skarsgård gets fed up. He's Eddie. He just gets fed up, and there's cameras in his car, by the way. That's how this guy's watching him and everything he does. He gets fed up and just destroys the cameras. And I thought, oh gosh, is this how it's going to end? Like, he destroys the cameras and Hopkins kills him. But no, it still goes on for a little bit. And once the cameras are destroyed, now that whole cat and mouse thing, or that whole phone conversation that was going on through the majority of the movies, can't happen anymore. Because he destroys the cameras, and he destroys like the speaker phone, or the camera phone, or whatever type of phone it was that was in his car. But it's useless now. So at this point, I knew there was still a little bit more time to go, so I thought, okay, are we actually going to see Anthony Hopkins? And yes, we do. So in the tail end, in the climax, Anthony Hopkins shows up, and I thought, now, he is old, and I'm like, how is he going to physically, even though Skarsgård is pretty well beat down, I would think, Skarsgård's, 30-something, I don't know, young, in shape. Even with all that, I think it might be almost a fair fight between these two guys. Because he shows up and he's got like a cane. And, he's got coughing issues and breathing issues right out the gate. And I'm like, uh-oh, how's this? But he manages to get Skarsgård to tie himself down. And they're in the vehicle together. And now it just becomes a conversation. So that face-to-face, and still with the whole tormenting him verbally and the whole like just passive-aggressive conversations. Just this guy keeps saying he's sorry, but he's not really sorry. It's like, oh, I'm only sorry because I'm caught type of sorry. But it becomes convincing that like he's sorry. I mean, after 3 days of torture in this vehicle, you've got to be sorry that you've gotten in the vehicle. At least that. And then the funny part was he had purchased this lottery ticket, and he looks at the lottery ticket and he won $500. And if he had noticed that before he got into the car, he would have realized that he never would have even needed to steal the car if he would have cashed that lottery ticket out. So he basically, Skarsgård, and I don't know where Hopkins was really going with this once they were in the car together. I guess he had a plan. But Skarsgård has a plan as well. And there was this little gadget underneath the driver's seat, or the passenger seat, and he does something underneath there at some point to jam the car up, and the car shuts down. Somehow Hopkins loses control of the car, and they have this crash. And I thought, oh gosh, as they're going off this ravine, I thought, oh my gosh, are they going to blow up? Are they both going to die? If they would have both died, I would have really not like this movie at all. But remember, this car is built like a tank, so it literally survives the fall of this drop, this off a mountainside, and lands in this other area, and the car overall is mostly fine. It's got some damage. That ultra strong glass is cracked, but in the whole debacle of the car falling, they both sustain some damage. But Hopkins shoots off a gun, and boom, 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 and shoots himself basically in the back, because it ricochets off these super strong windows, and he's going down for the count. But he's still talking even after they've crashed, and Skarsgård is all messed up. I mean, he's like the end of Die Hard messed up, and he finally manages to get out the car, and Hopkins dies, and this whole thing with Skarsgård's character, and this is where I felt like it was just thrown in there, kind of stitched in there, because it was kind of hard to get the chemistry between the daughter and the dad, because they never really had any scenes together until the way end. And he finally gets out, and this whole bit about, I'm going to pick my daughter up at school at 2:15, and he's been neglecting that. That's why he's a deadbeat dad. The whole beginning of the movie, he had failed at doing that, and it was a repetitive habit of his. And he goes to the mechanic shop. He can't get the car out in time for 2:15, so he pedals this little girl's bike there and shows up to his little girl at 2:15 after school, picking her up, and it's a big dramatic hug. The end. So, I mean, it was very anticlimactic for me because I just never felt the connection between the daughter and Skarsgård. She was cute, but she didn't do much but scoot her around and call him and say, "You missed me." So at the end of the day, I felt like this movie was trying too hard in certain aspects. It was just trying very hard to be the combination of many of those movies I mentioned, you know, those super thriller ones. And it just, to me, overall, it didn't come together perfectly right. I think this was a decent premise. But sometimes, like, a premise like this could be an episode of, like, a cop TV show or something. Like, it's hard to draw this premise out over an hour and a half. And at the end of the day, we're going to get down to business on this one. And I am going to give it a basic burger. And the reason why, and I was very torn about this, is kind of like how I was with Woman in the Yard, where I felt like in some parts it was a good burger and other parts it was a veggie burger. And that's kind of where it does lie for me. Some of the parts just read as awful and other parts were really good. So I'm just going to do that math and blend those two grades together and give it right in the middle. It's very basic overall. I'm not sure I would recommend it to anyone unless you're really into these super smart type of thrillers. If you liked Unhinged, you'll probably like this. But if you haven't seen Unhinged, then I recommend you go see Unhinged and maybe watch this one another time. Anyhow, we're going to leave it at that. Thanks again for stopping by. Please like, subscribe, all that jazz. Tap the notification bell, and we'll catch you the next time.